Hello guys, and here we're gonna talk about how to take user input as numeric type. Okay, and as I said previously, that every time you take a user input, it reads it as line, and then it becomes a string. Basically, it reads it as a string. So no matter what they enter, if the user enters 5 or any numbers with decimal or anything, it's still gonna read that as a string. And so in order for us to use it as a number, let's say if we want to multiply or divide or use it for something else, we need to convert that input to our data type that we're expecting from the user. Okay, so let's look at a simple example. So let's say we have int x, and now we can just say x equals read line, right? So you just can't. It's gonna give you an error, trust me. So what we do need to do, so we do need to convert that to int, and in this case to int 32 because that's our integer, and then inside we're gonna do our console.readLine. Okay, and in this case what's gonna happen is that we read the line as a string, and then we take that string and convert to our integer 32, and then we store it into the x. Okay, and we saw that from before examples that what it's gonna do. And we also can do is we can say int y equals x plus 5, for instance, just to make sure that we know it got converted, and then we're gonna print it out that and let's print out our y. Okay, so let's run it and see what happens. Start. Okay, so obviously it's waiting for our input. Let's enter 10, and then so when we enter that, they should go in there, and then add 5 and print, we should get 15, and we do. So our program is working. So this is how you take the input as a string, convert to integer, and then you save it into the integer. Okay, now obviously if you run this program right now, let's just do it. Okay, and we expect an integer, but what if we enter, let's say 5.4, right? And we click enter, and whoop, there you go, we have an error. Okay, we got an exception. And it's later on, we're not going to talk about right now, but later on we'll be able to catch those mistakes using exceptions and things like that. But for now, basically we're going to trust the user to input what we're asking them. So in this case, we would just tell them enter the whole numbers or whatever, and then later on we'll be able to control that with different strategies. There's multiple ways to do that. We can check before we store, and then we can display the user again. Hey, you entered the wrong number, you dummy. We ask you for this number, and you enter that or whatever. We're gonna talk about that later. Also, when errors like this occur, we need to make sure that we will catch pretty much all of them. So if they enter like semicolons or something. But for now, like I said, we're not gonna worry about that. We're just gonna assume the user listens our commands, and that's why it's important when we write in this kind of code to ask the user what to enter, right? So if they enter, enter your name, and they enter numbers, that's wrong. And if it's vice versa, if we ask them for the number and they enter name. But for now, we're just gonna assume, and we're gonna ask the users to input. And so in the next tutorials, we're gonna be talking about the this whole lessons that we learned so far, and we gonna do our exercise where we get to build a program. So I will see you in next tutorial.